What is success? The dictionary defines success as the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. Sounds complex, huh? Well, it is. Everybody's definition of success is a little different. I thought I knew the definition of success until today. I made the TED Talks. I knew everything I was going to say. I done got up here and forgot everything I was going to say. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to stay on the path to make sure I complete what I came here to do today, and that's inspire and to teach. My story starts in Houston, Texas. I was born in a family that was heavily populated in entertainment and sports. At a young age, I was taken from my family and I was put in a foster home. I didn't know then what I didn't know then what I know now, that me going through that path of being taken from my family and being placed in the foster home, it was going to instill values I need to be able to succeed later on in life. Fast forward, my grandparents found me. I was the only child of my mom's 7 children that went to a foster home by himself. My 2 younger siblings, they were found by my grandmother at an early on age. Going through foster care, I made friends. I learned how to network. I learned how to find comfort in communicating with people and talking to people and just fellowshipping. That was my happy place because I no longer had a sound and a safe structure. After my grandparents found me, I was excited to be reunited with my family. Given the years that I was not with my family, it was always my goal to make sure that I made my family proud so that I would never leave again, because that's what happens when you don't have something and you finally get it. You want to show out. You want to make sure that you do everything in your power to keep it. Whew. Didn't think that I would ever be taken from my family again. This time, it wasn't me being taken by my family from so-called the system. It was my family putting me in an institution because although I thought I was fine, the rest of the world didn't think I was fine. Going through all of that, I've always found comfort again in fellowshipping with people and networking and talking and learning things and wanting to do art and wanting to change the world, wanting to make other people's life happy, because I felt like, again, if I make other people happy, then I don't have to worry about people walking out of my life, or I don't have to worry about ever just being left to the side again. Going through everything I went through as a child, it instilled a lot of purpose and value in me. I learned that my calling in life was going to always to help other people get from where they once were to where they need to be. I was always going to be a connecting piece. I was always going to be a teacher. I was always going to be a motivator of sort. Fast forward, I'm growing up, I go through life, other shit happens. And I just learned to kind of cope with other stuff. And throughout other things happening, I've always been really good in school. I've always did the right thing. I never smoked, I never drunk before the age that I was supposed to. I kind of always just made sure I stayed the right path because I seen what it was to be a little black boy growing up in Houston, Texas, who had come from the system. And I know what it was to be in the system. And so I refuse to ever go back to the system again. Fast forward, I go to school. I get my degree in communication. Shout out to Texas Southern University. I get my degree in communication, and life happens. What am I going to do? I got this degree. I did this internship. I hated radio, but I did everything right, so I'm on that path to success. They say if you go to school, you do what you need to do, you're going to be successful. Wrong. Never used the degree. I end up getting into real estate because I need to pay off my student loans because I was told that you're not supposed to have debt. I never was educated on, the importance of putting your loan debt to the side, consolidating your loans or any of that type of thing. So life happened. So I left that and I went into real estate. Being in real estate, I still felt like I used my calling of connecting people. It was exciting to make sure that I was able to connect people with their first apartments, their first dream homes. It was just a really exciting time. All the while, I know I come from a background of entertainment. I come from a background of sports. I know that I don't like working for nobody. Like Kiki said earlier, I'm not supposed to be here. You can't tell me what to do. I've been through so much of people telling me what to do that I just refuse to allow someone to tell me what to do. So real estate came, and it was good. I was making six figures at a very young age. I had a college degree. Again, I was not using that degree, and so I was not using that degree, but me being in real estate and me making the type of money I wanted, that success, right? Having the money, having the cars, having the nice jewelry, just being grand and fabulous, that's success. So I thought, a few years after me building real estate and me and a few years after me being in real estate and me advancing pretty fastly, I realized that I wasn't happy. And although I thought I was advancing, I was really going backwards. Everything that I loved about myself, everything that I taught myself, I was starting to suppress. I'm now working for someone and someone is telling me that I can't do this. You're talking too much to the client. You can't have a heart in this business. You can't do this, you can't do this, because ultimately your job is to sell these apartments and that's it. It was 2017, January 2017, I still remember. I had never missed a day of work with this company. This particular day, I was not feeling well. I wasn't feeling well. I ended up going to check myself in the hospital. Well, I ended up going to the hospital to try to figure out what was going on. I ended up being admitted to the hospital. I was on the verge of having a stroke at a young age. And that was just kind of like the last straw. I called my job and it was like, I'm not gonna be able to make it. It was during a really big time for the property. It was about to acquire a $1 billion acquisition. And so I needed acquisition, and so I needed to be there. I wasn't there. I got a voicemail from the company basically saying, hey, if you can't show up today, you might as well come and turn in your keys. That same day, I checked out the hospital. I still had an IV in my hand, and I went and turned in the keys. That same day, I ended up getting a call from BET, and this was like so random. Prior to this situation, I remember praying. I've always been a person that if I can't figure out the answers, I didn't have a strong family background that I can go to. I didn't have a strong friend base that I can go to because, again, I was one of these children that came from a system, and so everything I knew was everything I taught. Everything I taught myself and kind of learned from people who I decided to network with. I remember praying to God that whatever had been going on in my life, please just allow me to be happy. You can take everything I have. All I want to do is be happy at this point, and all I want to do is be successful in my own right, through my own route. I ended up leaving the job, dropping the keys off, got the call from BET. I got a call basically asking did I want to style an episode of Being Mary Jane. Keep in mind, y'all, never been a stylist, don't know how, well, I know where the opportunity came from because I know the person, but I don't know how they knew to call me to style an episode of a major television show, and I had never had industry experience. What I did have was networking experience, and I've always talked to people, and I've always presented myself well. If I was going to the corner store, I was getting dressed up. Like, that was just who I was. Long story short, I ended up getting a call back, and they was like, hey, do you want to do this episode? And I was like, well, do I lie and say, I'm a stylist, I've done this before, take the job, or do I just not take the job and be like, hey, but keep me in mind for anything else. I don't know what it is that I want to do at this point, but just keep me in mind for that. I took the job to be a stylist. The check was, I think, $1,000 at the time. I had 5 ladies to style. I had never dated before. I ended up spending money out of my own pocket. But the moral to that story is I did it. I took that route to get me to the next route or wherever life was about to take me. From that, I ended up being placed in rooms with other people, and I was able to connect other people. I took the styling thing serious for a little bit. I even ended up styling Solange. I don't know how the hell that happened, but I ended up styling Solange. And one of the things I've always done is when people give me opportunity, I've always learned how to take an opportunity someone else gave me and make it work and benefit for other people. That's my road to success. It doesn't mean there's no meaning to being successful if you cannot be successful and bless other people. That's just how I've always felt. So that happened, networked, did that, end up styling Solange, end up doing Beyonce's background dancers for the Formation Tour, but all the while I'm realizing I don't want to be a stylist. I'm having more fun being able to bring my friends in on these projects and let them show their true visions. I'm having more fun taking these Black designers and placing them on taking these Black designers and placing them on influential people so that they can get that picture, they can post it to social media, they can send it out to the news. That's what I was comfortable with, that's what I was happy with, that's where I found my comfort at. It went from me styling and doing that to me writing for magazines because I wanted to place people in magazines. Then I wanted to start placing people in magazines. And then from that, I was like, okay, well, if I can style, I can place people in magazines. I can style, I can write and place people in magazines. I can connect the dots. What is it that I'm doing? I ended up being on the internet one night. I heard, it was Yvette Knowles Shore. Y'all might not know her, but she's Beyonce's publicist. I heard her speaking about connecting the dots and getting people in media. So I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be a publicist. No publicity experience, no nothing, just have this degree, I have this heart, I have this vision and this mission to connect people. I'm gonna make it do what it do. At the time, remember, I no longer had that job. So all my savings had went to buying clothes to be able to style people when I needed to be, flying to LA when I needed to be in LA because there's really no action in Houston as it pertains to entertainment, buying clothes for myself so I can look the part because I'm trying to make sure that I'm in all these rooms and all these parties so people can be like, hey, this is this boy. I didn't have a job title at the time, but I was determined to let people know that whatever they needed from me, I was going to be able to do. I was going to be able to connect the dots for them. So I was going to be able to connect the dots from them. So after learning all those attributes about myself and creating this brand, I decided that I was going to up and leave Houston. At the time, I was homeless. I think I gave up my apartment. I was sleeping in my friend's house. I had just sold my BMW. I had $500. And I was like, I'm going to up and move to Atlanta. I'm going to start a PR firm. And that's what I did. October 30th, 2017, I started my PR firm, the I Am Phreshy brand. And initially when I got in, it was very untraditional the way I got in. I had never been in entertainment. I didn't have the connections, but I was able to build those connections based off of me wanting to network, me wanting to help everybody out, and me understanding that success does not have a definition. Your success is not the same as their success. The true success is the path that you take to get to where you need to be. As I leave you guys tonight, I just want to inspire you and let you guys know that anything in this world that you want, you can have. It's all about what you have right here in your heart, and it's about speaking into existence. If you remember as a child, you didn't know what your path held, but you stuck to that path, and that's the true success. Sticking to the path of your purpose and making sure that you have the purpose to change the world and make it a little bit better than when you arrived in it.